this, it just cuts all the sweetness, and it leaves it feeling drier than it should.
You heard it here. You
Right.
heard it here. Right from the horse's mouth,
Right.
right there. Coming to you virtually live from the Beer to Whiskey Studios, high atop Barley's Tap Room on Washington Street in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. I'm Russ Heaps, and this is Beer to Whiskey. And today we're doing one of our Big John and Five episodes where I get my good buddy over here, Big John Richards, Father Christmas to all the little children who are watching this beer drinking video. And John picks beers from Barley's 72 or so taps, or from their 50 or 60 different bottles and cans of beer, and we sniff them and we sip them and we kibitz about them, and John shares a little bit of history of the brewery, and sometimes we get a little brewing history, and we get to drink a lot of beer. And joining us today for whether it's better or worse for him is my fraternity brother and guy that I've been friends with for 50 years, E. Randall Porter, from the metropolis of Dayton, Ohio, the birthplace of flight. Absolutely. And Ports came down here ostensibly to help us out with Barley's biggest little beer fest, and we've got a freak storm coming in.
It's gonna snow.
Yeah, on Saturday, and it's supposed to be
Tomorrow.
a little rough. So they postponed the beer fest until the 29th, so Ports gets to come back for that. But anyway, that's who he is and why he's here. And if you look through videos that are already up, you'll find him in several of them. Having gotten all the foreplay out of the way, John, what are we doing?
Foreplay, huh?
Yeah.
All right. This is a Milk Stout from Copper Kettle Brewing Company out of Denver, Colorado, and they just started coming out our way in the last year.
I've never heard of them.
They are, they don't have they just opened up in 2011, so they're 10 years old. I had not heard of them, or had not heard much of them prior to them coming out here. They've won some awards and gotten some recognition, and they're kind of one of those breweries that kind of lived on the outskirts of my radar. And now they make some of my favorite, their traditional beers, their core lineup, some of my favorite traditionally brewed two style beers in the country. Their IPA is fantastic.
Is it hazy?
It is not. And this one is their Milk Stout, which is perfect Milk Stout. Well, really kind of sweet stout because they brew with both lactose and oats to give it the creamy texture that
Nice.
you're about to experience. So with the traditional Milk Stout, you get the sweetness and the texture and the rich, smooth beer that you expect out of something bigger, but you still get a real sessionable alcohol content. So we're at 5.5%.
Oh, wow.
But a nice, clean, smooth beer. You got the unfermentables in there, so you'll, a little bit of the unfermentable sugar, some dextrins in there, give you some of that sweetness and creamy texture, and it just goes down like a dream.
Did this have a head on it when we
A
started
little
out?
bit. It doesn't have a bunch. It's not built to be that way. It's not built to be super carbonated because the carbonation would interfere with the sweetness. It's very lightly carbonated, so that it's just because the carbonation, on top of making your tongue taste more, feels hot like a pepper when it goes over your tongue.
Right.
So if you put too much carbonation in a beer like this, it just cuts all the sweetness and it leaves it feeling drier than it should.
You heard it here. You
Right.
heard it here. Right from the horse's mouth, right there.
So a good Milk Stout ought to be very lightly carbonated so that it's creamy, the texture is smooth. It's going to be a big full mouth feel, but it's not going to feel heavy, or it's not going to feel any heavier than Guinness would. And people who think Guinness is heavy they're wrong.
Right.
They're just wrong.
They're just wrong. Guinness, for being, what is it,
4.2.
4.2 alcohol content, and it is not it doesn't have a big mouth feel to it. It gets such a bad rap.
Yeah.
Guinness gets such a bad rap. And what in the heck else would you drop a jigger? How do you do a car bomb? A jigger of Bailey's / Irish whiskey?
Yes.
Yes, and drop that. What else would you drop that little shot glass into except Guinness?
Well, Russell, as a side note, the cinnamon vanilla coffee stout we just had would make an awesome car bomb.
It would. It would. Okay, forget what I said. Forget what I said. All right. Well, let's get on with this thing.
Here's the Milk Stout.
Text Miss Lily. Yep. I'm lactose intolerant. Did I tell you that?
This video is about to get interesting.
I'm not really.
So explain to me when you said milk, they actually put milk in the brewing process?
No.
Is it in the fermentation?
Lactose sugar.
Right.
So lactose is the sugar that makes milk taste sweet. It's the naturally occurring sugar in milk, and of course you sort of distill that out. So you're not actually adding milk into the brewing process. You're just actually literally adding lactose sugar, and it's completely unfermentable. Yeast won't eat it. So when yeast goes in to eat all the stuff that you created during the brew process from your starches, from your grains, it encounters any number of different things that are unfermentable sugars, and it just can't eat them. So when it goes dormant, all those things are left in there, giving you the texture and giving you the extra sweetness out of several different places you can go in beer to find that. But
I'm getting a little hint of the lactose in the back of my tongue, but basically, if I didn't know that this had lactose in it,
this doesn't feel like a milkshake.
No,
And sometimes they do. This still tastes like a beer. I mean, you could put this in front of me and I'd be tempted to call it a porter.
Yeah.
But you can feel the texture of it more than the weight. If you can understand the difference between those two things,
right,
is where you feel the lactose sugar, and it's not aggressively done, but it's like I said, this is the way sweet stout ought to be. It should be. You should still taste the coffee on the back end and the roast, which I do. And in fact, as I'm talking, the roast is what's dominating in my flavor, receptors. It's all retronasal. It's all aroma, but we've done that. We'll have to do a beer 101 on that or something. But when you taste it, you get the sweetness up front, and the bitterness lingers with you, which makes you want to go back for another sip. It's perfectly done.
Yeah, it is. And I keep, as I sip more of it, I'm getting more of the milky thing on the back of my tongue.
Yeah.
It's like it's building up as I take sips of it.
Yeah, that's really fair. And probably what it should do is that texture should build more, and as your tongue gets used to it, it sort of holds on to
right.
it. And that's where, when we talk about pairing food and the carbonation thing again, that carbonation, kind of those, what we like to call scrubbing bubbles,
Right.
it scrubs everything off, leaves you with flavor, whereas something like this that doesn't have a lot, the flavors are going to linger a lot longer and stay with you.
Sure. So we've talked, the brewery's about 10 years old, Denver, Colorado.
Yep.
Still
family owned.
Okay.
So they talk a lot about their community, and of course having not been to their brewery, I can't speak firsthand to that.
Right.
But they take a lot of pride in their community and their place in it, and that they're a small brewery and that they're family owned, and
right.
So it's a good thing to see. And it's where I like beer to be, even though sometimes very, very good beer. Sometimes some of the best beer comes out of the biggest breweries around, and sometimes it's because they've had more time.
Sure.
But this small scale brewery, even though we're getting it from Denver, is where my heart is.
Yeah.
And where, if you're a smart consumer, your heart should be. Your money wants to stay local. So
Right. Yep. I've got.
yeah, well, we've done economics, we've done brewing,
We-
we've done.
We haven't
history.
done enough drinking. Is what we haven't done enough of. Anything else?
Well, I think we should send these people
Okay.
off to find this on their own. Copper Kettle Brewing Company, guys.
So damn lucky. See you next time.